Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Considered by many to be the greatest game ever created.
A bit more. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Considered by many to be the greatest game ever created.
Ocarina of Time captivated audiences with its engrossing world, sharp gameplay, and spectacular graphics.
13 years later, and does the hero of Time's legendary adventures still hold up today? Let's find out.
Firstly, let's focus on the narrative. Ocarina of Time follows Link as he sets out on a quest to defeat Ganondorf and stop him attaining the Triforce, a sacred relic that grants the wishes of its holder.
Throughout his journey, Link will have to awaken the 7 sages and ultimately rescue Princess Zelda.
The story is satisfactory, but hardly amazing, with very little characterization or any major plot twists. It just gives the player a reason to go adventuring.
In terms of gameplay,
Ocarina of Time could be best described as a near perfect example of action-adventure genre.
Leaping over perilous pits, tackling enemies in sword fights, or aiming your bow to take down far-off targets is incredibly fun and never grows tiresome.
However, there is one thing that seems to let the game down, and that is the very world Link inhabits.
Hyrule. One of the key problems of Hyrule is that it's limited in scope compared to many modern games, and many of the areas you explore just seem lacking with very little interesting things to see or do. And yeah, you can go fishing, but to be honest, the fishing in Twilight Princess is deeper and much more fun.
Yet you can't get any fish. Another problem is that talking to the non-playable characters feels very basic, with them conveying very little emotion and their dialogue being
relatively plain and boring.
Well, thank you. That's what I was looking for. To summarize, the world of Hyrule just feels like a filler before you get to the next dungeon.
And speaking of the dungeons, these are Ocarina of Time's greatest strength. From the clever puzzles to the tough enemies and challenging boss fights, these are some of the best level designs ever seen in Zelda or gaming history. The dungeons are immersive, adventurous, and rewarding, and one of the key reasons to keep playing.
No, the dungeons are immersive, adventurous, and rewarding, and one of the key reasons to keep playing. Control-wise, Ocarina of Time still holds up really well. The Z targeting combat was innovational for its time, and this feature hasn't aged in the slightest. It makes combat tight, responsive, and satisfying.
And without it, the combat would just be a mess. Kind of like the current economical climate. Link moves smoothly around the world of Hyrule like butter, although he is slow and you resort to rolling rather than running many times.
Accessing items from the pause menu is a cinch, thanks to everything being neatly organized, and aiming weapons is as easy as blinking.
Graphically,
There we go.
Graphically, this game is blocky. Very, very blocky. Every character in the game lacks any spherical geometry, and the world of Hyrule, while varied, feels empty. The dungeons look decent enough, however, there is a reason why Nintendo remade this game for the 3DS. It is graphically dated. And before you say that all Nintendo 64 and PS1 games look dated, I'll simply point you in the direction of Crash Bandicoot 2 and Conker's Bad Fur Day.
The music is great, filled with many classical tunes that have transcended video game history.
The dungeon tunes are appropriately atmospheric, the boss tunes are epic, and the rest of the music fit their appropriate environments such as Lon Lon Ranch and Castle Town.
On top of that, the Ocarina melodies are short but rememberable.
So looking back, Ocarina of Time is a classic game, and most of it still holds up well today. We say most of it because while the gameplay and dungeons haven't aged, the world of Hyrule has, and while the music and controls are still terrific, the graphical presentation is like Lego.
So, is it really dated? The answer is, kind of. However, considering the game still got impressively high scores when it got remade for 3DS,
I guess you could say that Ocarina of Time, at its core, is still a timeless classic. Good on you, Link. Well done. You're not dated.